Welcome back to MCC. Today we're visiting the Indiana Shelby American Automobile Club's 19th annual Shelby Spring Fling. This first-class event is held each May at the Brown County State Park in Nashville, Indiana. In a few minutes we'll visit with some of the owners of these legendary Shelbys. But first, designer Larry Shinoda is the subject of this week's Classic Designers and Engineers feature.
If you judge an auto designer by the collectability of his works, then Larry Shinoda ranks near the top of the list, with cars like the Stingray, Z28, and Boss 302 to his credit. Larry Shinoda grew up in Southern California and started developing his artistic talents in grade school. He graduated from the Art Center College of Design in Los Angeles and started working for Ford in 1955. The following year, Larry went to work for Packard. He also started designing Indy cars, something he proved to be very good at. His next move was to General Motors as a senior designer, where he would work very closely with Bill Mitchell. Over the next decade, Larry designed several Corvette show cars, but he will probably be most remembered for penning the dramatic lines used on the 63 Stingray.
Well, of all the Corvettes, I guess the 63 Corvette is probably one of my prouder jobs. Actually, one of my proudest moments in General Motors was designing a little car called the Monster GT. It was a real slick little silver coupe.
Larry also played a key role in the development of the Z28 Camaro's racy look.
I worked on a bootleg basis with Vince Piggins, who was the product promotion chief at Chevrolet. And so we'd do models, we'd do little things. We helped do the stripe package and the front spoilers and rear spoilers for the car.
Ford's answer to the Z28 was the '69 Boss 302 Mustang. And in a strange twist of fate, it was Shinoda who designed the stunning looks of the new Boss. In May of '68, Bunky Knudsen defected from GM to become president of Ford. 3 months later, he hired Larry away from GM.
I put 7-inch wheels on, took all this superfluous stuff off. We did this little C-stripe, but it was decal, not paint. And the hood was painted. And then I did the options for the sport slats, the louvered back window, and the rear spoiler that bolted on.
Larry also came up with the Boss name.
They were going to call the Boss 302 the SR2, standing for Sedan Racing Category 2. I fought it, and I just thought Boss would be a much better name, and that was kind of the name how I referred to Knudsen. He was always the boss.
Today, Larry runs his own design business and enjoys writing for automotive magazines. One of his most recent design projects is the Shinoda Boss, which combines updated Boss styling with the new generation Mustang. Larry Shinoda, one of America's classic designers.
Welcome back. The first Shelby Spring Fling was held in 1977 and has become one of the premier Shelby events in the Midwest. We talked to some of the organizers and participants of this unique event to get their impressions.
Well, in 1977, Steve Yates envisioned bringing a Shelby Club meet here to Brown County State Park in southern Indiana, and with the help of a few loyal followers, we have built this into a nationally recognized event.
The first gatherings were just a handful of basically local Indiana cars, and now it is one of the premier events in the country, one of the earliest events we have in the Midwest, and it brings out such a nice variety of vehicles.
We used to be in the little part over there by the saddle barn, and now all of a sudden we've taken over 2 or 3 parking lots. And the cars have changed. They've gone from the early cars, now there's a nice combination of both.
How many cars do you have here today?
Approximately 200 cars from as far away as New York, Florida, California, Canada, and even a few Australians.
And how many Shelby makes are here?
Every make that was built originally by Shelby American, including a few European models such as the Tigers and the Panteras.
The Spring Fling is an awesome event. It attracts the finest cars and the automotive legends to go with them. This year's special guest was Pete Brock, designer of the legendary Daytona Coupe. And even Carroll Shelby himself has attended. Nobody combined performance and styling like Shelby, and I spent the day in awe of his work. And when an engine roared to life, I couldn't help but think of the days when Shelby's Cobras ruled the road. But what makes this event so special is the perfect blend of great cars, great people, and a great setting.
It's a combination of the park itself, the people who put the show on, the collection of cars, the variety, the quality, and Nashville itself.
The setting is great, the camaraderie is great, and the turnout of cars, the variety. And it's not only the cars, it's the people and the involvement of everyone. And the cars are just what brings us together.
We love it, it's tradition. We wouldn't be able to start the summer off without going to it.
In the mid-1960s, Ford and Shelby American worked closely to dominate much of the world sports car racing scene. Meanwhile, Pontiac engineers were secretly working to develop a powerful version of their run-of-the-mill Tempest, which would come to be known as the GTO, the car that started the muscle car revolution.
The evolution of the GTO during the 1960s is a microcosm of the muscle car revolution, as this montage of television commercials illustrates. See how many of these you remember.
It happens every time. A guy goes out and gets a genuine Tiger, a Pontiac GTO that is, and guess who suddenly loves cats? The GTO, one of the wide-track Tigers from Pontiac.
The Tiger scores again. Pontiac GTO for 66, 6.5 liters of young Tiger. See it in captivity at your Pontiac dealer.
Ride the wide track winning streak. Drive a wide track Pontiac.
Steady, lady, steady, steady. You know how I cruise. Like I ride. Why didn't I learn how to sing? GTO!
The Humbler is here. This is the way it's going to be, baby. We're going to catch one.
Many of the GTOs I remember during the 60s prowled the streets in slightly modified form. The GTO was a perfect car to add a personal touch to, either to enhance its looks or performance. So for this segment, we tracked down a GTO that's been restored the way I remember them. Cruising the big boy after dark. This red 65 turned up in a place we love to visit, the West Coast.
Well, we're back out in Southern California, and this time with Larry Weiner. Larry, welcome to the show.
Thanks, it's a pleasure to be here with you today.
You know, Larry, in the course of this show, we talk to rodders and customizers and people that are into factory-accurate restorations. You're a bit of a mix of all three of those, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Well, what we've got here to talk about is your 65 GTO, and I want you to tell me about it and tell me about some of the tweaks you've made to it.
Let's go through it.
Well, 65 was really the second year of GTO, but perhaps the first real year of the car. Is that right?
That's true. You know, they did the one in 64, which they really snuck out the back door. DeLorean and Wangers, who was from the advertising agency, they put this car and snuck it out the door. In 65, it got a full factory backup. They did a big advertising campaign, which we both know to be the Tiger theme. Right. Tiger in the tank, Tiger paw tires, Tiger under the hood. Everything was Tiger.
And you were a Tiger if you drove one.
Absolutely. You got that right.
Well, I also noticed those tires are a little beefier than stock too, aren't they?
Yeah, there's a little more meat under there than they had 65 with those little skinny 775 Redline Tiger paw tires. We got some serious tire here. These are a set of BF Goodrich radial TAs mounted on a reproduction set of original Rally 1 wheels. Big difference here is instead of a 14 by 5.5 inch wide wheel, these back ones are 15 by 8 and the front ones are 15 by 7. It gives us a lot of grip on the road.
The Tiger's got bigger claws.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, now, when I first looked at the interior of your car, the thing that jumped out at me was this fascia plate on the instrument cluster.
Right. That's kind of an interesting deal. Originally in 65, this car came with a wood veneer applique that was on the around the instruments. And I didn't think that fitted the character or theme of the car. And so what I did was, that's a 64 applique, that engine turning. And I thought that more befitted a high-performance image than would like you'd find in a Bonneville.
And then that other gauge there, which most people at first glance say is a tack, that's actually a vacuum manifold vacuum.
Vacuum manifold gauge, that's right, and that measures the amount of vacuum in the intake manifold. And originally back in the 60s, that was used to cause people to drive more conservatively, you know, to try to make for fuel economy, but it was a dealer installed option.
What do you say we look under the hood and see what gives this Tiger its grr?
Oh, there's some serious Tiger growl under here. You've got a real 389 tri-power engine hiding under the hood. And this is a very representative engine of what you'd have found in a 65 GTO, except we've got some treats here too. You'll notice that surrounding these tri-power carburetors is a ram air tub with the foam sealing element, and if you were to look through the hood, you would find that it's open. Instead of this part being closed, these are open. So it's really the same scoop with openings. So when you seal it, it seals against the foam, and the only air this engine can get is from the outside. So it's fresh air, it's cooler, denser air, which makes for more horsepower.
And those are 3 Rochesters.
They most certainly are. They're 3 Rochester 2-barrel carburetors.
And in 64, it was actually a vacuum
right.
linkage.
In 64, all the parts you see over here was vacuum actuated, where in 65 they actually went to mechanical actuation on the progressive throttle linkage, which was what this is. It runs on the center carb, and then when you hit the gas pedal real hard, it actually opens your 2 outboard carburetors up mechanically with the actuating rods.
And what kind of horsepower was this thing rated at when?
This car was rated at 360 horsepower brand new with the tri-power. That was the option over the 4-barrel.
Then how about the valve covers? Those are a little bit different, aren't they?
Yeah, you know, we've tried to be period correct with the car, and we have made changes that a person would have made if they bought this car and built it in 65 and improved on it. Those are Cal Custom valve covers from the mid-60s. They're aluminum castings with the deep ribs, and I had them chromed, and they are period correct for a 65 Pontiac.
Well, I also noticed when I first saw this, something that was a bit different than stock were the lights up here.
Ah, my parking lamps. I will give credit to Chuck Roberts for giving me the inspiration to do that. His GTO, which has been featured in many magazines like the one you have, he had mounted a pair of Grand Prix parking lamps in the grill and obviated the original ones that were mounted down here, the small ones. And I thought it was a really nice individualistic touch. It's a Pontiac factory part. It wasn't originally on the GTO, but I thought that it gave it so much charm and character that only a person like you with your knowledge of these cars would pick it up. But it really is a nice touch. It gives it a lot of character.
I like it. Well, I tell you what, let's close it up and take this kitty out.
Hey, let's fasten your seatbelt and go out and scare you.
Remember, we have only one rule: don't kill the host.
Absolutely not. I call these tinker toy cars because they're so easy to build.
Yep.
You don't have to be a rocket scientist to build one of these.
She's a beauty.
I mean, you sit at a stoplight and the hood's shaking and the car's shaking and the cam's racking. It's like, this is great. This is what it's all about. This is car stuff. If you're not a car guy, you don't understand.